Injury-free guitar practice. How to avoid wrist injuries. A guitarist should try to maintain a straight wrist or gently, slightly arched wrist when playing. If the wrist is bent too far, the friction on the tendons as they pass through the carpal tunnel is increased, which can cause injury, carpal tunnel syndrome. One wants to avoid any ligament injuries to the wrist. It is very important to keep the wrist straight as possible in any repetitive motion activity, such as guitar playing or using a computer mouse. All these activities can add up to damage the wrist. A guitarist should practice sensibly. They should avoid the two typical causes of injury, practicing too much and practicing incorrectly. For instance, they should take plenty of breaks. Also, they should only press the strings down as hard as is needed to produce a good tone. Overpressing can lead to pain and injury. Moreover, holding a chord down too long is not wise, especially if it is done incorrectly. A guitarist should focus on moving their fingers from the knuckles. In fact, when one moves their finger from the knuckle, the moment that they relax, the finger will spring back to a neutral position. The less strain a guitarist puts on their hands, the better. One should use the least amount of effort possible when playing the guitar. In general, the left hand knuckles, or fretting hand knuckles, should stay parallel to the edge of the guitar neck with fingers curved. This is called the classical position. If the hand is slightly angled from the classical position, also known as the baseball position, then the wrist should still be relatively straight. It is fine for the fingers to be a little flatter in this position. What is important when playing the guitar is the position of the wrist. A guitarist should use relatively new strings. They should try extra light gauged strings, or nylon strings, if they are a novice. The strings will be easier to press down and bend. Also, a guitarist should keep their strings clean. It is suggested that one use a good string cleaner. A guitarist should always practice on a guitar that is playable. There are just too many beginner guitars being made today that are not playable and can lead to wrist injuries, among others. A guitar should be fitted to the player just like a good pair of shoes. A guitarist should properly maintain their instrument. A guitarist should spend the time to correctly learn how to practice and play. It is so important that a guitarist